Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Steph and today I'm going to be sharing my delicious Ndole recipe with you guys. This recipe is very easy, it's step by step and it's beginners friendly. So if you've never made Ndole before, this is definitely the recipe for you. But before we get into the recipe, let's just take some time to admire this Ndole. Just look at how green it is, just look at the obstacles, it is definitely given. These are my ingredients for this delicious Ndole. So first things first, we have our Ndole bitter leaf here. Of course, it says fresh Ndole. I am in the States, so we normally only have access to frozen Ndole. The meat I'm using today is cow foot. I really love using cow foot for Ndole. It's just so delicious. Normally I mix it with beef, but I'm cutting down on beef. We're going to be using some baking soda. We are using this to wash our bitter leaf so that bitter taste can go away and it can make the bitter leaf softer and good for our Ndole. We have some bleached peanuts, aka white groundnuts, for the Ndole. And then we have our ginger, garlic and pepper. It looks like this because I keep it in the freezer. Then we have our crayfish, which is a very important ingredient for Ndole. We have some Maggie Crevette. Since we are making Ndole and it needs crayfish, Maggie Crevette is really going to enhance that crayfish flavor and make it really tasty. We have some onions. Onions is very important for Ndole. We're going to blend it with some of the spices. Then we have white pepper here. We have the seeds and we have the blended one. I normally buy it like this and blend it just so I know exactly what I'm buying. We have some chicken bouillon, and finally we have some oil here. We're using olive oil. My meat has been cooked, by the way, in case you couldn't tell, and I cooked the meat with a blended mixture of fresh ginger, fresh garlic, onions and fresh pepper, and then I seasoned it with beef bouillon, and that was it. First things first, we are going to be washing our bitter leaves. As someone who's located in the States and wants to cook Ndole for the first time, hey Steph, where can I find Ndole bitter leaves? You can find it in the international store at the frozen section. It's going to be in the deep freezer with the other international and African foods. Just make sure it says Ndole bitter leaf because they have different bitter leaves. They have regular bitter leaves and they have Ndole bitter leaf. Make sure that you go for the one that says Ndole bitter leaves. As you guys can see, I'm using a bowl and a sift to wash the Ndole because unfortunately sometimes Ndole does come with sand in it, and I'm doing it like this so that if there's any sand in it, it can sink to the bottom of the bowl. But this Ndole was really good and it didn't take me long to wash it because it didn't have any sand. And after washing, I'm just gonna squeeze it, and now I'm going to put it in the water. My water was boiling while I was washing the Ndole, and now the water has boiled up and I'm putting the Ndole in it now. Once I've put the bitter leaves in the pot and the water comes back to a boil, I'm going to be adding some baking soda inside. I'm not adding a lot, just enough to make it foamy like you see it here. And the reason why I'm adding baking soda is because it's going to further eliminate that bitter taste from the bitter leaves. It's going to soften the bitter leaves, and it's also going to make the bitter leaves really green and vibrant, which is going to make our Ndole more attractive. After about 7 minutes of the baking soda cooking with the bitter leaves, we are going to take it off the fire and we're going to wash it with cold water for about 3 times, then we are going to squeeze it. Just to add, you can substitute baking soda with Nikki or Kanwa. Now we're going to be working on our blanched peanuts, aka white groundnuts. I went ahead and I washed it, and then I'm going to be adding that beef stock, which is going to give it an amazing taste. Then I'm also going to be adding some salt. Then I'm going to take my wooden spoon, I'm going to mix everything together, and then I'm going to cook it for about 20 minutes, and this is what it looks like. Then I'm going to go ahead and blend it. I'm going to be blending it with the ginger, the garlic, the onions and the habanero. So when blending your peanuts, make sure you put enough water just to be able to blend. And this is what my peanuts looks like after blending. Once I finish blending it, I put it in the pot, and this is what it looks like. I'm adding some beef stock because it was a little bit too thick for me, so I'm just adding that beef stock to loosen it up, guys. So when you cook your beef, make sure you save that stock, because as you guys can see, I've been using my stock all throughout this video. And then now I'm going to be adding some crayfish. I like adding my crayfish in sections, so this is the first time that you guys are going to see me add crayfish, and when you keep watching, you see that I added crayfish later on. I'm also adding my blended onions. Guys, I used 1.5 large onions for this recipe. Onions is so important for Ndole, very important. And now I'm going to be adding my Maggie Crevette, and I'm also adding some white pepper. Make sure you don't skip this step. Don't skip this step. Oh yeah, don't skip this step. White pepper is very important for Ndole, so make sure you add it. So I'm just gonna add all of that, and I'm just gonna stir, and then I'm gonna cover the pot and let it cook for about 15 more minutes. It's cooking on medium to low heat, because if the heat is too high, the peanuts are going to burn at the bottom, and we are not eating any burnt Ndole over here, okay? After 15 minutes of our peanuts cooking on medium to low heat, we are going to be adding our bitter leaves. And once we have added the Ndole bitter leaves, we are going to mix everything together. I like adding my bitter leaves first before adding my meat, because combining the bitter leaf with the peanuts is easy when there are no obstacles like meat. If I had meat in this pot, it would take more strength, and because I am Ajibota and because I am an Ajibota baby, please, I don't have strength. Anything that is easy, that is what we go with. It should look like this once we have the perfect balance of Ndole and bitter leaves. And then now we are going to add the obstacles, which is our cow foot. So after mixing, I'm just going to taste and see if I need to make any adjustments. So guys, if I taste this thing again, which I just did, it means that something is lacking and I'm trying to figure it out, or it's really good. And as you guys can see, it needed Maggie and it needed more crayfish. Remember, I told you guys I put my crayfish in sections, and as you guys can see, I blend my crayfish all the way because I hate seeing particles of crayfish in my food. And I'm also going to be adding some oil just to loosen it up, since I added that crayfish, and crayfish can be somewhat of a thickener. I'm not adding so much oil because I'm going to be adding more oil later on. So once I finish mixing it, I'm going to taste it to see if it needs any further adjustments, and it was perfectly fine. So I'm just going to cover the pot on medium to low heat while I work on the onions and the oil. So in a frying pan with hot oil, I'm going to be adding some chopped onions. Then I'm going to fry, and I'm going to be adding these onions in the Ndole. So for this part, if you're someone who does not eat onions, or you don't like seeing onions in your food, I don't know what to tell you, because this part is really important. You can chop your onions like really small so that you can barely see it, because the flavor of adding this onions and oil in the Ndole is just going to take it to another level, and you don't want to skip this step. Quick disclaimer guys, my camera died when I was pouring this oil and onions in the Ndole, so unfortunately you're not going to see that part, which unfortunately is the best part of Ndole ever. But you can just imagine it in your head, right? You can just make a mental picture and imagine it. So the next time you guys see the pots of Ndole will be after I've already added this oil and onions and mixed it. Also, you're going to let this fry for about 4 to 5 minutes. Just make sure it doesn't burn. So this is what the pots of Ndole looks like after we have added that oil and onions. Oh my god guys, look at this Ndole. It looks amazing. Like, I'm even salivating, and this is my ndole that I cooked. I'm even salivating, but this is my little secret though, guys. So once I add that onions and oil in the ndole, right, I go ahead and I add a little bit of crayfish. And once I add that little bit of crayfish, I also add a little bit of chicken bouillon, because chicken bouillon, it does something to ndole. Like, it does something to ndole. And once I have added those two, I mix everything together and I cover the pot on medium to low heat and I let it cook for about 5 more minutes. And after that, your ndole is ready. And guys, let me tell you, you're about to make the best ndole of your life. I don't know who you're about to be cooking for, but if you cook for somebody's son or somebody's daughter, baby, you're about to get extra points. This ndole is about to get you 100 points, okay? Because this is top notch, okay? Oh my god, guys, but seriously, what do you guys think? Are you guys salivating like me? Anyways, guys, for those who don't know what to eat with ndole, you can eat ndole with bobolo, which is absolutely my favorite Cameroonian dish, ndole and bobolo. You can also eat it with boiled ripe plantains. Some people eat it with rice. Bush people eat it with rice. I'm just joking, guys. I'm just joking. But you can also eat it with gari. Anyways, if you have watched this video up until this moment, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe.